this emotional mind and I have a logical mind.
It's called Men and Women, dumbass. Ha! 90 Day Fiance rolls on again. And it does not disappoint because they're just a hot mess. They're all a hot mess. And here we are, going forward, rolling through, train wreck abound. Gotta love it. But maybe some of them will make it. I don't know. To be determined. But first, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notifications for the new videos. I appreciate all support. Let's get them in the algorithm. Race to 1,000. Let's get there so we can do a live show weekly. And make sure you watch out for Married at First Sight on Thursdays at 6, 90 Day Fiance Mondays, and Smothered on Saturdays. So check them all out, always at 6. Always come back and check for the videos. I definitely appreciate it. Here we go. Let's start off with Gino and Jazmine. They might be the biggest train wreck of all, and yet sometimes they find a way to, or they can continue to find a way to make it work right now. But I just don't, how's it going to continue? How? They fight nonstop. They both keep screwing each other over. It's interesting to say the least.
Why is he giving you $2,000? Now he's gonna expect something from you.
Yeah.
Like what? What is?
Yeah, that's the question. Like,
what could we possibly expect from you for money? By the way, talking about her ex that gave her $2,000 to supplement her butt implants because naturally all these people on all these reality shows got to get plastic surgery to feel good about themselves. Putting themselves in danger for elective surgeries, not the smartest thing in the world.
Because he is an altruist.
He's an altruist.
He does charity.
He does it was like charity to give me money for my butt implants. God dang, man. Are these come on. They cannot possibly think like that.
Like charity. This is a pure
look at this that face right there says it all. Of course, you're going to think the worst because what the hell are you listening to? She just tried to compare charity with giving money for butt implants.
A friend.
Pure friendship.
$2,000.
Yes,
why are you still talking to him?
I have
Why are you still having a conversation?
and giving money to my friends.
Okay, but this is the problem, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but this is an ex of hers. She's constantly had problems with him having contact with exes, which he's done some wrong things in the past, like, I don't know, send her nudes to an ex, which I still don't know why, he did that, but she has a problem with his exes, or him having contact with his exes. I get it, but yet it's okay for her to have contact. It's just double standard, hypocritical, and yet she'll tell you, of course I have a problem with that, but you should have a problem with me. Me.
She was making fun of me.
Talking about the ex here.
My physical appearance.
Talking about the ex here for sending those nudes.
The ones that you stand and she look at.
He about to die, man. Look at this guy.
If I provoke
he gonna die. Oh damn.
Calm down.
What the is wrong with
Look, they keep focusing. Look, they keep focusing on the damn knife. They keep focusing on the knife. Gino, I don't know what the hell he's thinking. He's about to die. That fool needs to get together because she is about to cut his face Colombian style. This fool got problems for even he got this big old butcher knife, and he thought it'd be a good idea to ask her when talking about him sending the nudes, and then the ex-girlfriend released the nudes apparently on social media or something like that. He asked her what she did to provoke the ex. Now, I don't know if there was a fight there, but quite frankly, it doesn't matter. I don't know why the hell he sent nudes of his current girlfriend to his ex and then asking her what she did to provoke her sending it out. There's so many problems there. Don't get me wrong. There has been issues on both sides, but he is 100% wrong in that comment. No doubt. Ridiculous fool here. God. Ooh. Maniacal music.
That's the only thing I regret in life. Not him. So good as we used to
damn.
every time we
Yeah, I wish.
Oh, damn. The only thing she regrets is not having sex with her ex, the one who gave her money for the butt implants, before she left and moved over here. So good. Like they used to have sex. Good God, man. Not only are you telling her, I wish I cheated on you because you're horrible, also saying she had to just knocking the ego by saying it was great sex too. I mean, she knows what she's doing, obviously, but damn. I mean, he kind of had some of that ego shot coming considering what he said, but still, damn. My God. Like, mic drop moment there. However, they finally come to terms with the fact that, now, I will give her credit here. Now, she is bat crazy. I mean, she just is. She's always been crazy. He's kind of a douche, and she's always been bat crazy. But I will give her credit that she was like, I found a way to forgive him for the pictures, and yet, saying that, of course, he needs to have some grace too, and it feels like they kind of come together a little bit towards the end, which I'll give him credit for. How long it lasts? Like probably 2 seconds, and they're going to be fighting the next episode, but I got to give him credit where it's due. I mean, you just got to.
It is time for us to act
It
like
is
two
time.
adults
It
and
is
put
time.
our exes behind. The best
I
one.
agree.
I'm sure you
I
do.
don't want that tension between us, up into our wedding.
Of course he agrees. He 100% agrees because of that butcher knife she had about to cut his face when she's coming and saying, I think we need to put the past behind us. And he's like, of course we do. Can I hide the knives now, please? My God. Either way, we'll see how it plays out. Ends on a good note for that episode. But they fight like cats and dogs, man. It just never ends. So I don't see them lasting for sure. If they last, it's going to be because it's the odd one that no one thought was going to last, and they end up lasting. So it'll be entertaining to see going forward, but to be determined how it plays out. Moving on to Citra and Sam. Sam's got a secret. Sam hasn't told Citra's dad yet, and this relationship's just kind of bizarre. I mean, this is the addict who doesn't really want to address his problems. I still have issues with his whole arrest thing, because when he goes to explain to Citra's dad, I had a prescription for my medicine that helps me with my addiction, which is like Suboxone or methadone or something like that. But I had a prescription. It was expired. I hadn't seen my doctor in a long time. But yet somehow I take it every day to maintain of my addiction, and somehow I still had some pills from an expired prescription. You are full of crap. It takes an addict to know an addict. I'm an addict. I know that behavior. That is a lie. What you did was you either had some you bought off the street, I don't know, to get an extra pep in your step or whatever, so you can get a little kick out of it, or you bought it streetwise because you couldn't see your doctor anymore. I don't know the reason you had it, or if you're just outright lying about what drug they found you with. Either way, it is not an expired prescription that supposedly you take every day to maintain, and yet you still had pills for it. None of it makes sense. So he's definitely lying. But we'll see how this one plays out, as we will with all of them.
If you have like
Look
one,
at that.
One brick.
Yeah.
What, one brick?
Cigarette.
No,
One stick.
one joint.
One stick.
5
years.
5 years. You can think what you want about laws and drugs and all that kind of stuff, but you're talking about another country where you can do 5 years for a joint. Now, I lived in Japan for a period of time, and they were pretty strict about weed over there. I was in high school over there, and it was, you would do jail time just for having a little bit of weed. So they are funny in some other countries, especially some Asian countries, about drugs and even just marijuana. We take it for granted over here. Over there, don't play no games. You hear him, he's like, what, just one? Look at that face. Look at that face. Like a brick? No, a joint. One joint. Come on, man. And this is a drug addict who does not have it together. So if he goes to visit, he probably going to be locked up in jail over there because he's going to be trying to get high. Now, he goes on to talk about what exactly his diversion program is. Now, supposedly, he was going to be able to get out without jail time with this diversion program, but he missed a deadline for paperwork. All of this stuff he's saying just stinks to high hell, man. If you're thinking of an addict, it just screams lying about something. So I don't know what exactly. I think he's lying about the arrest. I don't know if he's lying about the diversion program or he just actually forgot. It just was irresponsible and didn't get paperwork in. I don't know. But there are lies here nonetheless. But he's got to tell her dad, who is a cop, who arrests people for these ridiculous, crazy drug charges and spending years and years in prison, to tell him, I might be doing a little bit of prison time.
Ada kemungkinan kamu di penjara, Sam.
There's a possibility.
6 months up to a year.
Yeah, 6 months
It's
up
hard to say
until a
what's a
year.
felony.
Terus bagaimana dengan Citra kalau
Yeah,
kamu
exactly. What about
How
Citra?
about me if you're in jail?
Yeah. What about it, my dude? What about it?
Perasaan saya
He,
sangat-sangat
he doesn't know what to say. He don't know what to say because what about it? Yeah, you go to jail for a year. You bring her over here, and then you're going to go to jail for a year. I mean, you would think top priority would have been getting that paperwork. Going by what he is saying, having to get paperwork in or whatever, that should have been priority. Obviously, it wasn't by whatever he said. I don't buy it, for one. I don't buy it. But then her dad goes on to say what he will do.
kecewa dan marah. Saya tidak segan-segan. Maksud saya,
See,
saya
I'm not
tidak
afraid to call off
akan
the wedding.
melanjutkan pernikahan itu.
I
Saya
prefer
lebih
to
baik
save my
menyelamatkan
daughter.
anak saya. Jika
Rightfully
memang
so.
Sam kalah di persidangan dan dia akan dipenjara,
What?
kemungkinan saya akan bawa Citra kembali
And
ke
there it is.
Indonesia.
He will drag Citra back to Indonesia. If he goes to jail, he's going to take her back to Indonesia. And she already said she can't go without her father's approval. So you basically messed up everything you got going on. Whether this was going to be good or not, I don't know. Because you can't get together drug-wise. You can't get together with your court stuff. You just can't get together. And he wanted to act mad at his dad for kind of putting it out there that he used to be immature, even though complimenting and saying he's come a long way. Well, that's just addict stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. You talk to my wife, you talk to my family, they will tell you I've come a long way and just, let's see, I'll have 8 years clean this year. So you talk to them and say, hey, where was he at 8 years ago? They would say I was the most immature person ever. I mean, that's just natural. I don't know why he's acting like that. You were. I don't know you, and I know you were an immature person because you were an addict. Claimed to be were an addict. I still think he might have some issues going on, but you claim that you were. So naturally, if his dad's saying he's come a long way, take it as a compliment because your dad is giving you an inch. Take the inch. Don't take the mile. Take the inch. Good God, this guy. But again, as all of these, we must see how it plays out. Then we have Clayton and Annalie. Now, Clayton's got some issues with his mom right now. Him and Annalie have been fighting. Okay, I think Clayton's kind of being a little bit of a douche in some aspects, but his mom is having problems kind of adapting and not realizing that her son's trying to move on and be grown and have a wife, and she might need to actually let him do that. But she can't seem to do that because she's a little self-centered and kind of all about herself, it would seem.
I feel like you assume that everyone's like
Yep.
out to get you and like
100%.
assume that everybody's talking about you all the time and
I never once said that to anybody.
I know.
I never
I'm
once said
telling you,
that.
I have that perception just based on.
Oh, well, I'm sorry you have that perception about me.
That is what it is. Because if that was the case, then she wouldn't act like she was bothered just by her son wanting to get married and stuff. Now, you can have your issues with like, okay, you randomly met someone on the internet or whatever, wherever they met, and you brought them over to the United States. You don't know much about them. Okay, I get that, a little bit of concern there. But your son is trying to grow up and mature. You need to let it happen.
Yeah, if I had a place to go tomorrow.
See, if I had a place to go tomorrow, I would. Listen.
I have a feeling that's what you're trying to do.
Why the hell are you trying to throw a guilt trip on your son? Your son loves you, okay? And you decide to use that to throw a guilt trip on him because maybe he wants to have his own space with his wife. In this instance, the mom is wrong. Clayton's been wrong plenty, but the mom is wrong. And she needs to let her son be independent, and it would be the right thing to start looking for another place now so she can have her own space, so they can have their own space. But where are we at now? She's trying to guilt trip her son so she doesn't have to. That is a big problem.
Escucho que Clayton y su mamá se están quejando de
Ruh-roh.
mí en la cocina.
Ruh-roh.
Se siente muy incómodo y tenso
very
el lugar
uncomfortable
cuando
and
ellos están
tense.
hablando y solo puedo entender algunas cosas.
But she can't. This is the
Inglés puede
thing.
que no sea tan bueno, pero puedo entender realmente lo suficiente.
This is the thing. She's picking up on... Just because she doesn't speak English fluently doesn't mean she doesn't pick up on some words. And clearly she's picking up on some things. And yet, they're just talking like she doesn't know anything, which is a big mistake because clearly when you've been immersed in and you're around it, you're going to pick up on some things. And so his mom just doesn't want her there. I mean, that's simple. You know, you could disagree with the relationship, I'm sure, in some aspect, but she just doesn't want her there because she's encroaching on their space, and that is the problem.
No sé, no es mi culpa.
He says it's not his fault. Any other thing's not his fault. This fool, man.
Annalie's really good at gaslighting. It's
Gaslight
frustrating
what?
because
Gaslight
she has
what?
like this emotional mind and I have a logical mind.
It's called men and women, dumbass. God dang, man. A logical mind versus an emotional mind. Now, that is not saying men and women can't be different, can't be emotional on one side, can't be logical on one side, but women tend to be a little more emotional and men tend to want to fix things. For instance, if your wife is having a time and needs some support, as a man, your instinct may be to want to fix it, to say, hey, what's wrong? What can I do? What can I do? That may not be what they need, but that's the instinct. Now, as a good husband, as a good significant other, whatever, you try to adapt that so you know when you can try to fix things and when you just need to be there. That's true. But this fool doesn't seem to grasp that men and women are different. Instead, he's like, what do I do? I tend to have a more logical mind and she tends to have a more emotional mind. She also is in a country she doesn't know and is trying to adapt to things. Now, I think she'll adapt. I think she'll be okay. But take that into account and the fact that y'all are different. Don't be a dumbass, man. Come on. God. This is going to be a problem if they don't get together. And I got to say, I think they'll maybe be okay if the mom leaves. But will she leave? I don't know. That is to be determined. We shall see. Now, with Ashley and Manuel, they can't seem to get it together because their entire relationship is built on fight, 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 sex in a public place, sex in whatever place, fight, fight, fight. That's all they do. There's no in-between. There's no working it out, really. They went to therapy once, it didn't work out. So clearly, they got some stuff they need to work on if they ever wanted to make it work. But will that happen? Again, to be determined.
Lo mío es entre los dos trabajar, seguir adelante, ¿me entiendes?
Yeah.
Ya.
Eso es que yo quiero
mío no
también.
es.
Yep, that's what we want. Work in progress together.
Quiero es adaptarme a tu cultura, que dinero que tengo, gastar. No.
Okay, so basically what she was saying was, I will adapt to what you need in your culture if you adapt to what I need in my culture. He agreed to that, but he said, I don't want to adapt to the culture if it's just going to be spin, spin, spin. You know, I want to be able to save, I want to do this. So he's basically saying we need some compromise. Now, granted, he's not working, but he can't, obviously, yet. Now, maybe he's a little overbearing with the money thing, with how she spends her money, but like I said, the lady has like 5, 6, 7 different ways of coffee by the time 8 a.m. hits. So there are some spending issues that could be cut, and you're talking about a different cultural kind of thing where it's like money goes a lot farther where he's from, and it means a lot more. So I get that aspect, but they are going to have to find some compromise, or it ain't going to work.
Sometimes I feel like we're making progress, and then something
Do you?
happens, somebody's triggered, and it triggers the other one.
I think
and then we're
y'all
back
fool
into this
just need to
negative
get it
feedback
together.
loop, and we are rediscussing, breaking down things that we talked about in therapy.
No, seriously, what you need to do is y'all just need to get it together. I feel like I'm triggered, then he's triggered, then we're all triggered. It's just called emotion. I mean, you're triggered. Just find a way to be a couple. Don't be going at each other this way. You know, triggered. All these, the buzzword of triggered these days is just a way of saying I didn't like something that was said. In reality, y'all need to find a way to communicate. It is more complicated because English is not his first language. He barely speaks it. And Spanish is not your first language. Now, granted, you speak it better. Sure, I give you props for learning Spanish. But you have to find a way to communicate. This whole thing with he's saying that, she's saying that. He wants you to spend less and wants to be able to provide for his family, okay? You want him to be more understanding. Find a way to have that compromise and make it work. Otherwise, you can have sex in public bathrooms as much as you want, but it ain't never gonna work.
Quiero ir contigo, nada más. Y siempre vas a tener
At
mi
least they
apoyo.
find a way to make it
Nada más
work.
tú quieres ser aquí conmigo.
Siempre
Well,
vas a
stay with
tener mi
me?
apoyo y siempre voy a estar contigo.
Always
Las
have my
buenas y las
support.
malas. ¿Sí? ¿Entiendes?
See, this is what they do. This is what they do.
Cuando nosotros discutimos, comenzamos a pelear, no estamos de acuerdo en algo, no es como ella
It's never
piensa.
fun
no siempre vas a tener la razón o yo voy a tener la razón.
See, now, at least he's admitting neither one are right. And they have trouble accepting it, and that's one of the key points in their relationship. So he's admitting that. She's saying, we need to work together. Okay, these are all well and good things. And they go off to ride the boat at Niagara Falls. That is great, and that's like a bachelor moment where they do these elaborate dates to make the feeling of love, when in reality it's not really there. But that's a whole different thing. But that's great. And if they can come to that compromise and realize that that's what they need, great, fantastic. But it needs to be consistent. They're going to be fighting 2 seconds later. They need to have consistency. Somehow find a way to make it work. Improve the communication, if that means some sort of therapy or just figuring it out themselves. I mean, people don't always need therapy. They can figure it out themselves. But it takes effort on both parts. But they can do it. Maybe, I mean, anyone can do it. Whether they do it or not, that is the question. And we will see. To be determined. Either way, it's entertaining. It's a train wreck. I love it. I love every minute of it. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, hit the bell so you can get those notifications when new videos are out. Married at First Sight is on Thursdays at 6. 90 Day Fiancé is on Mondays at 6. And Smothered right now is on Saturdays at 6. We'll do more shows in the future, so we'll see what happens. Check them all out. Let's get in the algorithm. Race to 1,000. Let's get them subscribers up so we can get that live show going. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all next time.